Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have a great call lined up. This is the last day of September. Where is the time going? Seemed like this yesterday was March, blink. It was June, July, blink again. And here we are at the last day of the month and time to really close the month out. We want to thank everybody on the call today. All right, with that said, let's settle back, settle down. Let's get our guest speaker up here. Today is the last time we'll see her until November. Man, I tell you what, I don't want to miss this young lady, but you know what? I'll see at the convention. She's a fireball, and she has got packed full of fun. And I loved her training because she's showing you stuff that she's done to become a regional vice president. She even reached back at her archive to pull out stuff that she did 11 years ago, which is still relevant to the day. The question is, are we not just listening to it, but are we impacting by doing the things that she is advising us to do that got her to regional vice president? And without further ado, all the way from the northern part of Sacramento up in the foothills of California, none other than regional vice president, the one and only Miss Keri Roeder.
Well, happy Monday morning, last Monday of the month. You're right. Like it just felt like it was just March, and then June and July. That's like, God, what do they say? Days go quick, or days are long, years go quick, right? Like months go quick. It's just so insane that we're already completing the third quarter of this year, entering into the last quarter. And as Mr. Thomas teaches us, right, we're not entering into the last quarter of 2024. We're actually preparing for the momentum we're going to have starting in the first quarter of 2025. And I've already written out, Mr. Thomas, my goal for when the completion of 2025, December 31st, 2025, I've already written out my goal, my projection of what 2026 is going to look like for me financially. So thank you for always providing us such great business wisdom, not just in the simplicity of how to do ACN, but how to think big, how to really project and make plans and do all of those things. So congratulations to those of you who are new, and this might be your first or one of your very first leadership meetings with Mr. Al Thomas, who is our senior vice president. If you're brand new, I tell everybody he is your best asset. Take advantage of him. Don't take him for granted. Use him as a tool, because this gentleman has 3 billionaire with a B mentors and has helped countless people become worth millions themselves, and others become worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. So his level of knowledge is just bar none. The respect that we all have for him, there are no words to describe it. His business expands. He's not just one of the most successful people in our company, ACN. He's actually documented to be one of the most successful people in network marketing globally. Okay. His history of success is just unbeatable. And he's really a true servant, and generally you can see a lot of fun. So by a lot of you have your cameras on, thank you. By a show of hands, how many of you want to be in a position you're goofing off in the jungles of Africa in an 18-bed mansion, and you're getting paid because of other people's efforts? Right? Yeah. How many of us want to be Mr. Thomas when we grow up? Absolutely. And that's what we're here to talk about. That's what we're here to do. He pours into every single one of us, because here's what I know for a fact. He would love for us to have our own little bungalow thing in the jungle next to him, going to these things with him, right? He's not selfish. He's selfless. He wants every single one of us to succeed. So take heed of whatever he's coaching us on. Take the action. Matter of fact, I was having a conversation with Mr. Douglas Wolf the other day, and we were talking about, gratitude for leadership, and how do I say thank you, and all of that. And we talked about how you say thank you is doing the work and having the positive results, in which Mr. Douglas Wolf is having, because he's following the direction. He's putting one foot in front of the other to build his business, get business partners, get customers, continue to recruit, help others recruit, doing all of those actions. And so the biggest way to say thank you for all of us to Mr. Thomas is to do the work he teaches, do the work he has other people teach, so that we can in turn, in time, have the success that we want, and or the success that he has and beyond. So appreciate and always honored to be a part of this call. And I always say this too, as I talk to you, I can see me, right? And so I'm one of the little squares. And so I'm talking to myself too as I have these conversations. Yes, I'm 14 and a half years old in ACN. But I'm still also not where I want to be. And so as we have these conversations, just understand that you're not, if you're in a situation where you're like, we've talked about this the last couple times, gosh, Mrs. Roden, I'm not where I want to be. Cool, right? Some of you remember Mr. Provenzano gave me some special dust, right? When I see you in 15 days or whatever that is, I'm happy to give you a hug and help you reset and restart, because this is your journey. Okay. So this month we've been talking about different tools, and I started off the month with talking about how we have different tools for recruiting. Okay. And in that same conversation, I also talked about how we have different tools for acquiring customers. How many of you were on that or watched it, um, this leadership thing in the very beginning of the month, and remember me talking about tools for recruiting and tools for getting customers, right? Okay, cool. And I was using many of you as an example, like Sherry on. There were so many of you who, when he was asking, how many you have leads? Boom, name was in there. How many you got customers? Boom, name was in there. How many you got new IBOs? Boom, name was in there. How many you got new registered for the international? Boom, your name was in there. Okay, so basically, if you have not already written out your edification, please do so, because it is going to be one of your biggest tools in being effective in getting, when you share the business presentation to people on in your team, or even sideline to you. And some of you are new and you're like, I don't have anything to say. You do, actually. So work with your leadership on how you can write out your own edification and make sure it's effective, hitting those bullet points. Okay. And then last week we talked about being a leader. Are you a leader? Are you a leader by the definitions and sometimes in which we talk about what a leader looks like here? Okay. Now I want to wrap up this month's conversation by putting it all together and telling you the other biggest tool that we have that Mr. Tony Kupitz always talks with us about, which is the power of events. Okay, the power of events. Are you getting other people to the events so that you can, they can be in the environment? Mr. Harrison, this time I have a little hold. Okay. Are you putting people in front of the events in order to get them in that environment? So when you look at it this way, okay, so it's all like steps, right? So you recruit somebody and you get them in front of a presentation, ideally a PBR, a group presentation, but it might be a PBZ or even a one-on-one. But you get them in front of the information. They're like, I like it. Let's do this, right? And then you have a launch meeting, and that's another event. And you go specifically with them about what their financial goals are, what their goals are in ACN, and you map all of that out. Okay. And that's an event. And then they have their own home meeting or Zoom meeting, and they get their friends and family, their network, their business contacts in front of you. Okay. That's an event. And then they attend a training, where there's a Saturday training or one of these leadership trainings or the Tuesday night effective presentations, right? But they get in front of a training. That's an event. Now, how many of you would agree Zoom is great, right? Prior to Zoom, our team was trying to get me to do Zooms, and it was awkward. Douglas is like, your lighting's not right, and like all these things, right? It was just horrible. And then when the pandemic hit, we all had to learn how to do Zoom, right? Well, now that now that we're coming out of that and we're able to do the hybrid model, Zoom has its place, okay? But how many of you would agree that when you can get 20 people in a living room and share the ACN opportunity, there's a lot of great energy, there's a lot of great excitement, and people are shaking hands and giving hugs, and it's just really all that positive energy. How many of you? I can still see some of you. So how many of you agree with that? Okay, cool. Now, in order to take your business to the next level, we need to get people to the bigger environments. So when Mr. Thomas flies around, right, whether it's Tennessee or Fresno or whatever, bring people out of the living room, out of the small Saturday training in person or Zoom, right, and bring them to the bigger event live in person, where they get to meet regional vice presidents, right, or senior vice president, Mr. Al Thomas. Bring them to the bigger event, because when it goes from out of your living room of 20 people to their living room of 20 people to a Saturday training of 40 to 60 people to a bigger regional event of a couple hundred people, they can start to see the vision of, oh wow, we're not the only ones doing this. Oh wow, people drove for hours to come here to meet Mr. Thomas. Like, people will see that vision. But then the granddaddy of them all are the national events that AC and co-founders put on. We are going there in, I think it's like 15 days, whatever, Friday, right? We're flying there on Friday, or 2 Fridays from now. And we're going to be with the co-founders of the company who have helped us to, they've created an environment where you're going to go from 20 people in your living room, right? And then your new business partners are going to have 20 people in their living room. And then you're going to take them to a Saturday training where there's going to be, 40 people, and then to a regional event where there's hundreds of people, all the way to when you bring them to a national event. Now there's going to be thousands of people there. And they're going to go, oh my gosh, it's not just the few of us, right? It's thousands of people. All the vendors are going to be there. They can ask questions of the vendors, get information, have the vendors help them understand that their job isn't to be the rep of that service. Their job is to have just enough information to make a referral point. Like, the experience people are going to have when you bring them with you to a national training event is indescribable. Oh, left my thing in there. Got to go back in. Is indescribable. And so it's the environment. So we talked about, I quoted Mr. Provenzano last week, right? The environment, right? We provide hope, opportunity, and the environment to win. Well, the national environment is the environment where people can absolutely go from in ACN to ACN is now in them. So that's a saying we have. When people go to a national event, they go from they are in ACN to ACN is now in them. And that's what the national environments do. It gives the newest person the belief that they can do this. It helps them dream and know that they can be successful here. It gives them the encouragement that they too can do it too, because other people just like them are succeeding. Other people completely different and opposite of them are succeeding. It gives them the confidence they can go home and recruit everybody, because they see doctors, lawyers, they see people who are already worth, millions of dollars. They see the janitors, they see the everything. They see the housekeepers, they see the stay-at-home moms, right? They see all of that. So the national environment is what gives people that advantage to know that they can do it. So, and Mr. Harrison, because I'm no longer inside my house, I can no longer see my time. So tell me when I have a couple more minutes left, okay? Okay. So I want to show you guys this. So hopefully you can see this. Okay. This is the ticket that sits at my desk, right where I can see it when I work, okay? This is the ticket from my very first international training event where I was in ACN. And back before COVID, we had 3 days, 20,000. You've heard this stuff, right? 25,000 people in the arena. And Friday was a half day in the afternoon. Saturday was a full day. Okay. And my mentor, she happened to be in top production. So she had some VIP floor tickets and she had a small group there. And when she was asking the small group who wants to go before she even finished asking them all, me, because after Friday, I figured out the people closest to the stage are making the most money. Okay. So I was by myself. So they gave me one of the tickets. That next Saturday, I sat in the VIP section in this seat, row G, seat 26. Okay. And I was like, now I'm like, wow, so close to the stage. I can look behind me and see all the people, right? It was insane. And that's when I started to go, okay, this is something, right? And then, so they went through the training. They went through some of the promotions, newly promoted ETLs, newly promoted regional directors, blah, blah, blah. Well, then we took our lunch break. And then they started the regional vice president promotions. And I sat there going, wow, okay. And please take no offense to this, because I know when my promotion happened, people said the same exact thing. I'm like, Jesus, if they can do this, I can do this, right? So they were giving me the encouragement and the belief. And then all of a sudden, this song came on, and confetti started falling from the sky. And I look over at the ramp, this couple walking up, and these two beautiful little girls in white dresses were walking up, and it was a senior vice president promotion. And as she got her flowers, and the little girls got their flowers, and the guy, he got his ring, and and they were hugging and all the founders, and he went to the podium and he said, Keri Roeder, I need you to hear me. You can do this. You can do this. Fight for your family. Fight for your family. You can do this. And he starts pouring into me. To me, there's 25,000 people in the arena. And he was talking very specifically to me, telling me that I could do this, that I deserved it, that my family deserved this. And I don't remember anything he said past that, but that's what I remember. And a piece of confetti fell on my lap. And I looked at it, and I just remember picking it up going, I'm going to do this. I am a senior vice president. I am the top producing senior vice. And I was so overwhelmed. I just started bawling. And then I realized, oh, wait, he's talking to everybody. But I felt like he was talking to me. I thought I heard him say my name. Genuinely. It was that experience in that moment, sitting there, row G, seat 26, pretty straight onto the stage, podium, that I realized that ACN is my ticket to create legendary success for my daughter. She's home right now. She drove home with a friend. She was supposed to fly home. Friend wanted to come, so cancel the ticket. She got here, right? So, and I'm excited. She was supposed to go home Tuesday. Now she's going home on Wednesday. But she's here. And we're going to take a fresh picture for fresh new business cards, because she now also has a position, right? But here I am 14 and a half years later. Let me be some truth serum right now. 14 and a half years later, I am not where I wanted to be in ACN. I really thought I was going to be the kick-ass, top producing senior vice president. God, you got to bleep me again, right? Top producing senior vice president. Well, guess what? I'm not, clearly. But I am. Remember, we talked about this. Be, do, have. I have known from that time in June 28th, 26th, 2010, that I am the top producing senior vice president. So now, with the encouragement of my daughter and the support of my daughter and my friends and everybody, I'm still doing the work, right, to have that production. So that is what the ACN national events inspire the newest person to do. I call it your ACN tricycle, okay? One tricycle wheel is production in new business partners, okay? The other tricycle or wheel on the tricycle in the front is customers. Not just how many customers you're getting, because remember, for the compensation plan, you need to have your own customers to get paid on your team. So how many customers you're getting, how many customers your team's getting, right? So one wheel, let's say your left front one, is how many business partners you're getting, how many business partners you're helping your business partners get, IBO production. The other one is customers, how many you're getting, how many are you helping your team get, right? The other one in the back, the tricycle part, is events. How many people are you bringing with us to Orlando? Because if you think about how a tricycle works, would you agree if one of those wheels isn't functioning, you can't move forward in progress? Do you agree to that? I still see a lot of faces. Yes? Give me a thumbs up if that makes sense. Perfect. So if one of your tricycles or if one of your wheels or two of your wheels or even all three of your wheels have no forward progress, cool, no worries. No worries. Again, little sprinkle start over dust Mr. P gives me to keep in my pocket, right? It's not too late. You're still here. Be here a year from now is what we always say, but be here a year from now with some progress. It may not be the progress you want it to be, and you need to self-evaluate as to why that is. But start to put all three of your wheels in motion so that your ACN tricycle can lead you to the success it is in which you desire, whatever that level of success is. So I hope that my month with you in September, my Mondays with you in September have been helpful. It is always an honor and a privilege to be charged with such a responsibility. Mr. Al Thomas doesn't need all of us other leaders training you guys. He does it because he's smart. He knows. He takes himself out of the equation. It's kind of like, so we've talked about this in the past. How many of you have children or nieces and nephews that are young or have been young? Okay. So you know how, like, as a parent, so as a mom, you give a concept to your child, right? So with my daughter, I'd give her a concept. I give her a concept. I remember it's like first grade, got her from school. We walk in the door and she's like, "Oh, mama." And she starts to tell me a concept, right? And I was all, okay, I've been telling you that your entire life. But okay, fine. I'll let your teacher have credit for you now understanding that concept. That's the same exact thing that Mr. Thomas does. We are only teaching you what it is he has taught us. We're just forwarding on his wisdom. Because I walked away from my notes, I also just remembered I also wanted to tell you this. Okay, stick it out, because when you tell everybody that you do ACN and the services in which you offer, you keep going, right? You will continue to gain that momentum. This week, 2 calls came in. One call, so I belong to a networking group, and 2 women haven't been a part of this group for a very long time. Well, one woman called and said, "Hey, I need to sign up my husband for your identity theft protection." Sweet, right? So went over there. She got the family plan for the annual. So I got all my points. Yay. And then just yesterday morning, my phone rang again from a woman who hasn't been a part of that group for a very long time. She said, "I need to get my husband on your health coverage." Sweet, right? So make sure that you are telling everybody what you do and that you are sticking it out, because when people know that you're committed to your ACN business and that you're serious about your services and that you are on your own services, which is not required but suggested, it will come back and people will absolutely ask for you to take a look at helping them with the services in which you offer. So anyway, back to closing this out. ACN Tricycle, I really hope that you get your all 3 wheels moving so that you can find the success it is you're looking for. I would love to see and hug all of you in Orlando. For those of you who haven't met me, you'll be shocked. Most everybody is. I'm 5 foot tall, but depending on what shoes I'm wearing, I could be 5'2", 2.5 that day, unless you see me walking in my flip flops. But I would love for you to come up and introduce yourself to me. Let me take a picture with you, because I am trying to be better at that social media posting thing. But I would love to meet you and just be able to meet you in person. So when I see your handsome and pretty faces on these calls, I can recognize you. So I don't know if I see Mr. Thomas. Am I handing this back to Mr. Thomas? Okay, perfect. So again, Mr. Thomas, be safe in the jungle with those jaguars. Goodness gracious. Oh my gosh, but love you, appreciate you. As always, it's just such an honor and a privilege to be a part of these calls. And I'm looking forward to hugging you in a couple of weeks.